This video goes over 11.1 through 11.3, problems dealing with Euler's formula, surface area of prisms, cylinders, pyramids, and cones. So just as a review, Euler's formula is the number of faces plus the number of vertices equals the number of edges plus 2. In our last video that we did, we talked about the surface area of pyramids and cones, and those are highlighted right here. Surface area of a pyramid is the area of the base plus 1/2 the perimeter of the base times the slant height. And remember, this last part that I've outlined in green is the lateral area. So if you're asked for lateral area, you would find 1/2 perimeter of the base times the slant height. For the cone, the surface area is the base, which is a circle, plus pi r slant height, and again the lateral area is the last part of the formula. 2 videos ago, for 11.2, we talked about the surface area of a prism and the surface area of a cylinder. And just as a reminder, the surface area of a prism has 2 bases, one on top and one on bottom. They are parallel to each other. So the surface area is 2 times the area of one of the bases, because there's 2 bases, plus the lateral area, which is the perimeter of a base times the height of the prism. For a cylinder, it's 2 pi r squared, and remember, pi r squared is the area of a circle. So you have 2 circles as the bases of a cylinder, so it's 2 pi r squared, plus the lateral area of the cylinder, which is 2 pi r h, where h is the height of the cylinder. So we're going to go ahead and work through examples that are on your worksheet that you will be working on, and I have them labeled with the problem number that is very similar to. So this is a pyramid. So we're going to be finding the surface area and lateral area. So the formula we will be using is base plus 1/2 perimeter times the slant height. So the base is just a nice square. So that one's pretty easy. So let's find the perimeter of the base. Well, I know I have 4 sides, and each side is 5 centimeters long, so that's 20 centimeters. The area of the base is side squared, or length times width, or height times base, however you want to think about it. So that is 5 times 5, which is 25 centimeters squared. And then the slant height, we were given the slant height, that is 8 centimeters. So to find the lateral area, it's the second half of the formula. Our perimeter is 20 centimeters, and our slant height is 8. So that is a total of 80 centimeters squared. And then our surface area is just our base, the area of our base, plus our lateral area. They are like terms, so that's 105 centimeters squared. So that is similar to problem number 2b. This one's similar to problem number 2d. So again, we're going to be using the formula surface area equals base plus 1/2 perimeter of the base times the slant height. And again, we have a nice square base here. So we can find its perimeter really easy. We have 4 sides, and each side is 12 inches. So our perimeter is 48 inches. And then the area of our base is side squared, or length times width, or base times height. So it's 12 times 12, 144 inches squared. But we don't have our slant height. But we do have a nice right triangle that we can use to solve for our slant height. All right, so if I draw that triangle out and use Pythagorean Theorem, I get 12 squared plus 12 squared equals my slant height squared. So that's 144 plus 144 equals my slant height squared. 288 equals my slant height squared. And so when I take the square root, I'm going to get 12 radical 2 equals my slant height. So now I know my slant height to be 12 radical 2 inches. So now I can calculate my lateral area to be 1/2 times my perimeter, which is 48, times my slant height, which is 12 radical 2. And so I get, let's see, I get 288 radical 2 inches squared. And now when I find my surface area, it's just my base, 144 inches squared, plus my lateral area, which is 288 radical 2 inches squared. They are not like terms, so that is my final answer. So this one's a lot like 2C, and this is a cone and not a pyramid. So my surface area for a cone is going to be my base plus pi r slant height. So my base is just a circle, okay? But I need the formula to find the area of a circle, pi r squared, but it doesn't look like they gave me the radius. They gave me a diameter instead, so my radius is half of my diameter. So when I plug that in, I get pi times 5 squared is 25 pi inches squared. And now I can find, oh, they gave me my slant height, which is really nice. It's 13 inches. So I have everything I need to find the lateral area. So it is going to be pi times my radius times my slant height, and that's going to be 65 pi inches squared. So my surface area is going to be just my base, 25 pi, plus my lateral area, 65 pi. So that's going to be 90 pi inches squared because they are like terms. All right, so this is a lot like 2A. So again, I'm going to be using my formula for a cone. Surface area equals my base plus pi r times my slant height. So I know I have r this time. R is 5, but I don't have my slant height. So let's go figure that out. I am given a nice right triangle here because that is the height of my cone. So I know my height is 9. I'm going to use Pythagorean's Theorem. 9 squared plus 5 squared equals my slant height squared. 81 plus 25 equals my slant height squared. So that's 106 equals my slant height squared. So that is not going to reduce when I take the square root. So it's just the square root of 106, so that's going to be feet. So this is going to be the square root of 106 feet. So now to find the area of my base, that's pi r squared. My radius is 5, so pi times 5 squared is 25 pi feet squared. My lateral area is the second half of my formula. Pi times 5 times radical 106 equals 5 pi radical 106 feet squared. And now I know that my surface area, my total surface area is my base, which is 25 pi, plus my lateral area, which is 5 pi radical 106, and that's going to be feet squared, and they are not like terms, so we are done. Now we're going to move on to finding the surface area of prisms, which we haven't done in a little bit. So let's put up the formula. Surface area equals 2 times the base plus the perimeter times the height. So let's find the bases. Remember, the bases of prisms have to be parallel. So these are my two bases. They are triangular. They are parallel. They'll never touch each other. So we need to find the area of this triangle. So I do know that this has a right angle right here. So this is going to be the height, and this is going to be the base. And the formula is 1/2. It's a triangle, height times base. So I have 1/2 times 6 times 8, and that's going to be 24 centimeters squared. The perimeter now, I have to find the perimeter of a base, P. Well, I'm missing one of the sides, so what could I do to find this side right here? Well, I can use Pythagorean's theorem. So I know 6 squared plus 8 squared equals my hypotenuse squared. I'll just call it c squared. So that's going to be 36 plus 64 is c squared. 100 equals c squared, so c is going to be 10. All right, so this has a length of 10. So my perimeter is going to be 6 plus 8 plus 10, so that's going to be 24 centimeters, right? That is the distance around my base. Okay, so now I have my surface area, or let's do lateral area first. I have my lateral area, which is my perimeter, 24 centimeters, times the height. And remember, the height is the distance between the two bases, so this is right here is the height. And I just colored over it, so it is going to be 5 centimeters. So that's 120 centimeters squared, so that's my lateral area. And then to find my surface area, it's 2 times the area of my base plus my lateral area. So that's going to be 48 plus 120. That's 168 centimeters squared. Okay, we have time for one more example in this video, and then I'll start another. So this is going to be a cylinder, which is a little bit different than a prism. So our surface area of a cylinder, again, we do have 2 bases, but then we have the lateral area. Okay, so our bases are going to be circles, right? We have these 2 circles as our bases. They're parallel to each other. So the formula to find the area of a base is pi r squared, because that's the formula for a circle. And I know my radius is 4 in this case. And be careful, make sure that you do have the radius and not the diameter. So I have 16 pi, and that's going to be centimeters squared. And then I'm going to go ahead and find my lateral area, which is the last half of my formula. 2 pi, my radius is 4. And then the height of my cylinder is the distance between the bases, and that's 11. So this is going to be 88 pi centimeters squared. So now I just plug those into my surface area formula. 2 times my base area plus my lateral area. So I get 32 pi plus 88 pi. That's going to give me 120 pi squared. Okay, so we're going to stop right here, and we're going to do the last couple of examples on the next video.